there's definitely heat in Athens at that
Yeah,
time.
I mean, we got it. We got it here. We played in Madrid last Saturday, and it was 40 degrees. It was crazy warm, and I think we got a little piece of it. Currently, it's 27 and sunny here in Sweden, which is kind of warm. And tomorrow it was gonna push 35 even. So we'll see.
but we are used in Athens. We're used to this kind of heat. But
yeah,
that's your name. You should have gotten used to that conditions. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
So why force majeure? What was there any kind of superpower beneath you during this time?
So I mean, the word force was with us through like the whole process, and like we call Kenny Force because he has so much energy. So we call him like not Mr. Force, but we just call him Force. And we actually thought about calling the album Force as well, but then we kind of figured out like Force Majeure. It's kind of cool. It sort of reconnects to the whole like pandemic thing, but it's not meant to be like a pun for that. It's like we just wanted force, but like a major force, you know. And it's a cool title, like Force Majeure. It's a used phrase, you know. So we thought it was really cool.
Kind of made the force be with you.
Sort of, yes.
So the obvious question for H.E.A.T in all your interviews is the change of the singers. Okay.
Of course.
That's something you should expect. In fact, the return of Kenny Leckremo. How did you decide to go back to your original singer when Erik left?
For me, it was basically the only viable option, like the only option I really wanted to pursue. And I kind of knew that Kenny had been like sending some signs, you know, that he wanted to get back. So in a weird way, it kind of lined up very perfectly because him and Dave, they have been written lots of music together before, and he kind of insinuated that Kenny might be interested. And then we got together and we tried some stuff, we made some demos, and like eventually we just asked the question. So we never had another option really. We just went straight to the Force.
Was Kenny singing after he left H.E.A.T? Did he join?
Yeah, I mean, he put out an album called Spectra, his like solo project, which is kind of super AR-ish and like melodic rock West Coast. But he's done some shows in Madrid and in Spain, like some Queen tribute stuff and some, you know, sort of rock show, like Rock of Ages sort of thing, singing covers. And he did that like for a living for a couple of years, 2-3 years before he joined H.E.A.T again.
Okay, so you knew that his voice was in a condition that he could tour with you and record with you, and
oh, absolutely, yeah. And we actually tried some stuff like before we asked him. He put some vocals on One by One and on Rise that we actually released as well from H.E.A.T 2, the previous album. And yeah, we tried. I mean, and his voice sounded great, and we were like, yeah. And he's been like getting in super shape and everything. He was super ready to go back into the scene.
Erik might have left the band, but you have a band with him, New Horizon, which is more in the more power metal vein than H.E.A.T. It's a different approach to music. How is it to play in a band with a singer that has left the band, that your main band? Is it uncomfortable at times?
No, not at all. I mean, it's very natural. I mean, me and Erik, we have stayed in touch basically since he left the band. We've been talking like every day, every week. So we're great friends, and there's been no hard feelings really. I mean, since you could tell that he didn't want to be in the band, and we kind of brought that to his attention, and he realized it, and then he left the band. So we had a discussion, you know, as grown-ups, and we came to the conclusion there was the band. and no bad blood between us whatsoever, you know. So it's not weird. I mean, I guess that it could be seen as weird from outside perspective, like, but for us it's just fun to keep working together and make music. That's what it's all about. And it wasn't my intention even, or his intention. He was going to sing 2 tracks on the New Horizon album, and then because he had left H.E.A.T, he had the option and the availability to do the whole thing. And for me, it makes way more sense to have one singer than having different singer, which was my original plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and why not test his abilities and your abilities to a completely new playground for you? It's like living you in and say, oh, what do we have here? Oh, so this is power metal. So let's test us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I think Erik brings a freshness to the power metal genre. You know, I think he has a sound that's not super common, like for the power metal singers. So it's kind of cool.
Another common thing with Erik is that he joined Skid Row, and Skid Row signed a contract with Ear Music, which is your label.
Yeah.
Many
exactly.
coincidences, is that so?
Synergies. I don't know. It's just so weird.
Coincidence.
Erik. Yeah, it is a coincidence, and him joining Skid Row and everything. He was like I don't know, when he was sick last year, he was I'm never gonna stop singing. And then we had New Horizon, and then his like childhood heroes asks him to join the band. It's like crazy. You know, he won Swedish Idol in 2009, and he did as his audition when he came to the Idol. He did 18 in Life, and that was like one of the early viral like musical videos in Sweden, like that YouTube clip when he sings. So it's such a like full circle thing. It's insane.
So did you have any plan when Kenny rejoined the band? For example, did you want to return to the sound of your first couple of albums? Were there any things in your past few releases that you weren't fond of and you think you'd like to change them with Force Majeure?
Not really. I mean, with H.E.A.T 2, we really found our home. I think it was the first album that we produced ourselves since the first album, and it's a really cool album. We liked it, so we wanted to build on the H.E.A.T 2 sound and style of like powerful music, you know. And but like we started like basically instantly we started working on new music with Kenny, and that was the best way to integrate him into the band again, just to start writing music. And that's what we did. And yeah, we set out to build on the H.E.A.T 2 sound, but with Kenny in the mix, obviously him being a songwriter as well, it kind of we took some not inspiration, but I kind of unconsciously we probably sound a bit more like the first album as well. Obviously because of his voice, but also because of his inputs in the songwriting.
You produced this and the previous album yourselves.
Yes.
Why did you do that? Would you consider going to an outside producer that might help you with the direction of your music, or do you think that you know your music better yourselves, and now that you have released so many albums, you know what to do, and you feel?
I think that we've Tobias Lindell has produced I think it's 3 or 3 of our albums. So the ones when Erik joined the band, A Destination, Turn on the Walls, Into the Great Unknown. He's a great producer. Like, we've had so much fun. We've learned so much from him. But he moved to Thailand, and obviously it was like working distances and stuff like that made it. And we think we have like the production abilities within the band. And also with H.E.A.T 2, we kind of show that because it was very, very well received, you know, and I think we have the ability to produce ourselves. But Tobias is still mixing the album, so we still have his, you know, sound and his touch on the album, like the final touch, which is very important for us.
Mm-hmm. What was the idea behind this virtual reality artwork? and the video clip set and this H.E.A.T city thing?
It was basically Crash works a bit with this studio who does that. So he was like, yeah, we can do this and that. And then we were like, cool. Then we had a photo shoot in this. They took this with an idea of a city. And we had a photo shoot in virtual reality in this city environment. And it turned out really cool. And it was like, yeah, we can shoot a video in this as well. We're like, fuck yes. So we started to build on that concept. And we think it was pretty cool. So there was basically no grand idea or anything before, which it just turned out really cool. Yeah, we kind of, that's how it is with music as well. Like you come up with a song idea and it's like you don't really plan for it, it just happens.
And you might build on that. No, we like it, let's do something like that again. Okay.
I mean, exactly, yeah. And for this album cycle, we definitely will have the H.E.A.T City. Like it's a cool thing. I think we're gonna get the backdrops and build the like stage more in that vein.
And how do you feel about this synth pop, synth wave thing that has this simulation, these virtual reality things? Don't you think that some people might think that okay, H.E.A.T turned into a synthwave band or something like that?
No. It's not meant to be synthwave, actually. It's like, it's a flirt with the 80s, right? And I guess the neon stuff, and you can really think that it's kind of synthwave, but it's not, we've not gone full on like synthwave with the, you know, the webs and the triangles and stuff and the pink. It's not like this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's really cool. It's sort of in between the synthwave and the dystopic sort of thing that we have with Tearing Down the Walls, you know.
COVID, I think that it completely destroyed your plans for H.E.A.T 2. I mean, you released a fantastic album.
Thanks.
You didn't have the chance to tour and promote it the way you wanted.
No.
However, did this fact help you to focus on your new album and concentrate in writing great music with a new singer? I mean, having a new singer changes things. So, I mean, you had more time to focus. Let's see on the positive side of the things.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, it would have been very different if everything opened up in 2020, you know, and we had probably started touring on H.E.A.T 2 with Kenny. But now we had the time to make the new album because no shows were happening. So I guess in that aspect, in that perspective, it was a good thing because we could focus on getting him back in and releasing new music, which feels really fucking cool now, you know, because we made a really good album, I think. And the reception has been super great so far. So it feels like it turned out really good.
Yeah. I think we should focus on the positive sides of things, and the way that, okay, we didn't have the chance to tour, but we had the chance to work on a new album, which turns out great. And
we got a new record deal and everything with their music, and so we had time to build that relation as well.
You play kind of music that was extremely popular in the late 80s, but not so much anymore. Do you think tables will turn and hard rock music will be popular again? And how do you feel about TV series like Stranger Things? I mean, there was a guy playing Master of Puppets guitar solo, and all of a sudden, everyone...
It's funny. I was like, yeah, I know. I saw that last episode this morning, actually. I just finished the season, and I thought the exact same thing. I was like, well, this is good because they had the synthwave thing, but they with that character Eddie, they brought in the heavy metal to that. So I guess it could be like a resurgence of hard rock among the kids, and that would be fucking cool because I think when you are a teenager, it's like that's what, like, or youngster, you know, it's what hard rock music was made to be, like a rebellious kind of music. And also like it, you know, I think these days there's been a lot of like older people reliving their youth in the 80s, but it would be cool for the actual youth of today to like start appreciating it. And we're sort of in between, because we never lived in the 80s. No, we just, in the early 2000s, we watched, what the fuck is that? We want to do that, the 80s, but no one was listening to it. But these days, you still, heavy metal and hard rock it's alive. You can look at the festivals. Sweden Rock Festival pull 40,000 people at least, like, and all these big festivals. People, the crowd is there, and you have big bands coming. You have bands from Sweden like Sabaton and Ghost. They're selling out arenas. The hard rock music is definitely alive, but maybe not the late 80s style that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But it's more like the power metal side. And
what kind of people do you see in your audience? Do you see youngsters, or do you see people of my age who want to really revive the 80s myth? Do you think there's young blood coming into rock music?
Definitely. If you look at like Madrid or Spain, you have a lot of young people coming to the concerts, and also in Sweden, like everywhere there's young. It's not like it's all old people only. And to be honest, like everyone is welcome to a H.E.A.T show or whatever. It's like, it's just fun to see younger people liking hard rock music and carrying that torch and keeping it alive, because for me, I love the music, so I hope it can be around for quite some time.
Yeah, and I think that things like this that happen with Stranger Things or Cobra Kai, which is seen by youngsters, and they promote the music of the 80s, hard rock and heavy metal music, and think these kind of things might help more than the PR companies set by the record to bring audience to our music.
Well, they should put some new rock music into Stranger Things next season.
Yeah,
we're gonna send some contributions.
Yeah, I think it's about time to learn about new bands, and not only Def Leppard and Van Halen and Iron Maiden.
Exactly.
You play with John Levin in CROWNE.
Yep.
From Europe. And which are your plans for this band? And allow me to say that the song "Not for Sale" has a lot of Europe influences. Is as if I hear Europe songs.
Yeah, I love Europe. I'm actually here. I'm in the studio working on the new CROWNE album here today. It's almost finished. Yeah. So, and this one is really good actually. I really like the new album. But yeah, not for sale. It has some Europe. We call it the Väsby sound. We're from the same little town outside Stockholm, so it's obviously we're inspired by Europe a lot. They're like our hometown heroes.
Yeah, and their previous name was Force.
Oh yeah. Fuck yes. Circles. Yeah.
Now that you
mentioned, actually, I think Yngwie, someone was, because Yngwie wanted to call his band Force as well, but he couldn't because that band was around, so they called it Rising Force instead.
Yeah, it's Rising Force, and there was another band, I don't remember the name. Europe, we Force turned to Europe, and they turned their name to Universe, because they thought they were better than Europe. So Universe is bigger than Europe. So it's kind of like that. I had that discussion a couple of weeks ago with some Scandinavian musicians who were involved in that time.
Okay, but Universe they're also from Väsby, Upplands Väsby, same town. And I actually recorded the drums for their, like not produced, but I worked in a studio. It must have been 15, 17 years ago, and recorded drums for their album that they released a couple of years ago, Universe.
Yeah. What do you remember from your previous visits in Greece, not only in Athens and Thessaloniki, but also in Chania Rock Festival a few years ago.
Chania was amazing. I mean, we had such a great time on Crete. Great crowd, amazing scenery, so cool. We stayed a couple of days, like touristing after. It was really good. And Athens was amazing. It was like such a shame because Kenny lost his voice two days before. He couldn't sing, but he was like, fuck it, I'm going on stage anyways. I really hope that people wasn't like, oh, is this how Kenny sounds? Because he couldn't speak in the morning. It was like, but he actually came out and did the show, but it didn't sound at his best, you know. But it was a fun show anyways. I mean, I had a lot of fun. It's a great, I love Athens. Want to go back as soon as I can, the weekend.
Yeah.